party cause it's Corona times. Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Books Pe Charcha. On this week's episode, let's delve into the editorial side of publishing, and I have two amazing editors with me just for that.
Hi Nayantara, hi Sonali. I'm so glad you guys could join me for this episode. Like we did a publishing house basically episode last week as well, which explored the marketing side of publishing. And this week we wanted to explore the editorial side of publishing. So hi, how are you guys?
Hi.
Hi Sonali, how are you doing?
Hi. Fine, just like trying to sail through this lockdown and everything that is coming with it. So yeah.
Hi Nayantara, how are you doing?
Hi. One day at a time.
So you guys work in publishing houses in the editorial division. So Nayantara, in what capacity do you work and what type of books do you deal with?
So I'm an editor and I work with children's books. So that means picture books all the way up to young adults, so a 0 to whatever age you stop reading YA. So that's what I work with.
Hi Sonali, so in what capacity do you work in the publishing house? I know you work in the editorial sector, obviously, but what does your day look like and what genre of books do you handle?
So I work as an editor and my main tasks are to edit, obviously, and proofread and look for manuscripts and commission projects. And mine is basically, my company we deal with non-fiction books.
So what excites the publishing industry content? For you Sonali, like you said you work with non-fiction, what do you look for in manuscripts?
So when it comes to content, a lot of content is similar. I'll just give you an example. They talk about karma and universe and manifesting things. It's just a small part of what we do. But if we come across manuscripts with, which talk about karma and everything, then when it comes to spirituality, we are a little strict when it comes to manuscripts because we are looking for that X factor, because there are a lot of books on the same subject. So if the writing is superb, or if the author has explained it in such a way that even if you know some things like basic stuff, you would still want to read it. I didn't even think about it this way. Something along those lines.
And Tara, you said you work with children and young adult books. So what do you look in a manuscript? When you're going through a manuscript, what is the thing that needs to capture your eyes, your attention basically?
I think that it's always an interesting question to answer for children, because the truth is that a lot of us, even if you think about the books that you're reading, it tends to be international fiction. So you tend to have read you'll remember an Enid Blyton, and then you'll remember Harry Potter, and then I don't know, stuff like that. But there's actually so many interesting voices in Indian fiction as well. So in a way, it's sad that so many of us don't have those memories, but I also think it's really exciting that these voices are out there and people, I think, are reading them more. And especially in picture books and things over the last few years, I think that really, really interesting stories have been coming in. And I think because of that, this answer doesn't sound like it means anything, but I really think that just a good story is something that is still so exciting in children's, just because there's so much space to develop and to move beyond the 3 or 4 names that you might know. So just a really good story. Sometimes what grabs you is a character, sometimes what grabs you is a topic or a perspective that is underrepresented in children's books. So that's something I find interesting. So maybe even if it's a genre like folk tales, which I mean similar to nonfiction, that's never going to go anywhere. But are they folktales from a different part of the country that we haven't heard? Are they translations of some stories from an Indian language that haven't been translated into English before? So those things are exciting as well.
Okay, you guys directly work with authors basically, Nayantara?
If you mean in sense of are we communicating with them directly while the book is being edited?
Yeah.
then yes, yeah.
So like, is there any favorite author that you have like enjoyed working with?
I don't think like I've been in the job long enough to have like a long list of authors that I've worked with. But
Okay.
I just think like in general, it's cool to have sort of a chance to clarify or to discuss like a book as it's taking shape with an author, because then you feel like you're part of that journey in a small way as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's
part of a bigger
exciting.
thing.
Exactly, it's exciting no matter who the author is, I think.
So Sonali, you must also be like working directly with authors. So like, is there like a favorite author you have worked till date?
Like what Nayantara said, it's like each book is different. And
Yeah.
when you work on it with the author and you make changes and like whatever we are doing while editing, it's like we have some ideas, authors have some ideas, and then we get a better idea of what the author is thinking. So, and because each book that comes to us is very different. I
Yeah.
do have a few favorites actually, but okay, so I won't say the name of the book, but there is this book which was released earlier this year, and
Yeah.
it was on like feminism parts of that. So I actually really enjoyed working on that because I commissioned that project and I did not know many things about it. So it was like mind blowing.
Okay, so do you accept unsolicited manuscripts? This was a question, famous question basically from Bookstagrammers basically. So Sonali.
So we do actually both ways. If an author approaches us directly, we have a portal. You can send us manuscripts and through literary agents as well.
Okay. So
Yeah.
what about you, Nayantara? Yeah.
So same, both ways. I think that's probably true of a lot of the publishing houses. So either an email ID or some other instructions on the website, but then also agented manuscripts.
Okay. So how difficult is it? Like you said, you guys have worked with authors like directly. How is it when you ask your authors to like kill their darlings basically? Like when you ask them to like cut a piece of the writing, the things they have written, like if you ask them to cut a part, how difficult or like how easy is it to convince them, Nayantara?
I mean, again, I think it's interesting because like I think what happens is that as long as you're on the same page with regard to you both just want to make this the best for fiction. This is you want to make it the best story it can be, told in the best way that it can be.
Yeah.
I find that most of the times, like as long as your feedback isn't coming from a place of negativity, it's quite like most authors see where you're coming, because it is like for all of us, when you're writing, stuff is clear in your own head, but like if someone else reads it, it doesn't always come across the same way. So
Yeah.
a lot of it is just sort of, often it's just clarifying logic. Like maybe you know why this character did this thing, but when I'm reading it, that doesn't come across. So with that kind of feedback, I think it's generally, and I think you also, like as an editor, I think what I had to learn is to be receptive as well, because if an author wants to tell a story in a particular way, that's something that often has a lot of words. Like my opinion is still subjective to some extent.
So what about you, Sonali? Like you work with non-fiction and there must be like some parts that you think might not be working with the book. So like how do you convince your authors? Like how do you guys reach an agreement, the author and you as an editor?
Yeah, so like I remember I have deleted chapters while editing. And,
Okay.
Yeah. And I ask the author, I tell the author first that why I deleted this. If you think that we should include this in the book, then we have a discussion on that. And if the author strongly feels that, yeah, I want this in my book, so we try to like agree upon one thing that, okay, we can cut so and so, because what I've noticed so far is in non-fiction, there is a lot of repetition.
Yeah.
In the same book, there is a lot of repetition. So, as an editor, you also have to see, as a reader as well, that okay, will that reader be able to understand? Will that reader feel irritated that, okay, you have mentioned this thing in the last chapter, why are you talking about it again? So that is something we discuss and then we work on. And mostly, like my experience has been good. Mostly the authors agree with my deletion. But yeah,
According to you, what is the market reading? Like the readers in India, not only India, like you said, Nayantara, you work with international books as well, like YA fiction, right?
Mhm.
So what do you think, like what are people reading?
Let me think. I have to say that, and this is just going off like, looking at bookstores, Instagrams and stuff during the lockdown period. I feel like a lot of people have been turning to picture books for kids, which makes sense, right? Because everybody's kids are sitting at home and you have to entertain them. I think maybe like 50% of my Instagram feed is rereading Harry Potter or like rereading some like childhood favorite series. I think that like nostalgia is like a big lockdown mood. I've been
People are going to
rereading.
comfort reading.
Exactly, because you want something that's familiar, that won't like, I mean, we have enough uncertainty in like real life. You want something certain. Internationally, I feel like there's a lot of like own voices or fantasy that's happening outside of a very Western space, which is nice to see. Even in adult fiction, like even like City of Brass or something, it's nice to see a decentered kind of fantasy.
What about you, Sonali? What do you think people are reading?
so like I have no official numbers on this. It is just my observation. I think Indian readers who are into non-fiction, they're mostly into self-help motivational books.
Okay.
And I have seen this contrast, and I think Western readers are more into spirituality and like everything to do with the soul. Indian readers are more into motivational and inspirational kind of books.
At this moment, I think everyone needs some motivation and inspiration during this
You
lockdown.
want to know what to do next, right? You're like, just tell me what to do.
To be like, open the book, oh, I'll find the answer.
Yeah.
So we always play like a small game on each of our episodes. Like we have done 3 episodes, and on all of them we do a small game segment. So it's basically I'll start with a word, and you guys have to like you both have like 3 words and make a story out of it. It's like just a 2-minute thing, and we'll see where the story. In a small
Village in the
Middle of a
very large planet,
where lived 2
blue and red,
species which had
legs made of.
platinum and they
I've forgotten where the sentence starts. Were called the
white teddies who
wanted to make
their planet a
big movie theater.
where rest of
The other species
could come and
buy their popcorn.
hold dance
Competitions every night.
and they would
Make their own
Instagram live story
with alien filter.
and flat earthers.
Oh, I was just saying she's worked my brain more than like my actual day of work used my brain today.
Yeah, exactly. at least I know we can write a ridiculous fantasy.
This is amazing. Thank you so much, Sonali and Nayantara, for coming on this like special segment. I'm like really glad you could make some time for this, and it was so nice talking to you guys. Like truly, seriously, it was very nice talking.
Had fun.
Thank you. Yeah, this was fun.
Thank you so much for watching this episode, everyone. I hope you had a lot of fun because we definitely did, and I hope it was a fun as well as a knowledgeable session for y'all. And I hope you join us for the next episode as well. Until then, drink enough water and read some great books. Bye.